Here I have frames of honey that I've taken off as part of the summer harvest, but I can see by the colour of them that they definitely still have spring honey in them. That's the darker areas. You can see it clearly on this frame. There's a patch of dark and a patch of dark down there. And the reason that this spring honey wasn't spun out with the spring honey harvest was because it was uncapped at the time. Problem with the spring honey that I have now in summer when I'm trying to spin out the frames in the honey extractor is that it is very thick and heavy, and that the frames, when I try and spin them, just blow out. The wax blows out of the frame. So my alternative is to press the honey out of the frames, and this involves cutting out the comb and putting it in a mesh bag inside the honey press. And here I'm using my uncapping tray to chop around the sides of the comb, push it out, pull the wires out through, so I'm just left with a frame with wires, and then putting the chunks into the honey press. Very messy, but not hard. I am going through removing the comb from the frames. I also try and fish out big sections or big bits of pollen like this, because I don't think it tastes very nice and it can make the honey around it not taste great. There is the honey press. Already I'm not applying any pressure there yet, and the honey is coming out of the comb, and so I have the settling tank set up underneath. And like any press, when you put the lid in and you turn the screw to apply pressure, you will get lots of honey coming out through the holes like this is here, into the collection tray, then out down the spout. So finally you have finished taking off your comb from your frames, you've put it into your mesh bag in your honey press, and you've done up the drawstring bag. Then comes the metal plate on top. Then you slot in your corkscrew on top of the plate and the compression bar, and as you squeeze down and screw the compression plate further down, look at these lovely lines of honey running out. And so you squeeze it down as far as you can and make it really tight, and then give it a few moments, and as more honey comes out you'll then be able to screw it further down, and keep repeating that process until you end up with probably a fairly flat solid cake of wax in the bottom of the press. It could take as many as 10 or 20 times of screwing the screw down and as far as you can until it feels really tight, and then letting the honey flow out and then screwing it again. It takes quite a long time. The uncapping tray means that I now have also honey in there. We'll run through the sieve into the settling tank as well when I finish pressing the honey. So we have screwed it down a fair way and pressed quite a large amount of honey out, but that's only about halfway down the honey press, and I think it's going to go a fair way further yet. It's about to here. By the way, these rubber cake mix squeegees, very useful too. Although moving the golden gloopiness around can get a little bit addictive. Marks are weld marks, by the way, just where the stainless steel got very hot when the parts were being welded together. Nothing sinister. Because we're cutting the comb from the frame to press it, it might be more useful than having wire foundation to have wire-free foundation, and then it's much easier to chop round and push it out of the wooden frame. Try putting my bees on the heather honey, and I gather that requires pressing out rather than spinning. I would possibly be a little bit organised and get some frames with no wired foundation in them. When you've crushed it or pressed it all the way down You can leave it overnight, just draining into a jam jar for your own use. Maybe the main honey settling tank has now got its airtight lid on because we don't want moisture from the air to actually get into the honey and increase the water content. I know it's unlikely in the weather we're having, but good practice. So all done now. I've released and remove the screw. And then the compression plate has a handle, which is really hard to get up. I've just loosened that off rather than be tugging it and having a struggle on video. Now equally hard to pull out. And there it is, the cake of wax. Now that's pretty hard to pull up too, so you need some muscles to get it off the bottom of the honey press, because obviously you've put huge amounts of pressure down, compressed it, squished it, compressed it, squished it. So it's a bit of a battle to pull that up out of the honey press. And there is the full fat cake of wax. Pretty chunky. All ready in the solar wax melter to get the sunny days. Actually raining today for the first time in forever. But yeah, that will melt down. Honey extracted with the honey press that wouldn't spin out because it was too sticky and gloopy is this beautiful amber colour, which is very much the spring honey colour. The summer honey is lighter, more yellow gold.